Hi everyone, welcome to Tuesday's Tips with Laurie. So excited to have you with us today. A few weeks ago we started a part 1, a part 2, and this is kind of a part 3 with the hand applique. So the first 2 weeks, Jeanette had showed you how to use heat and bond and how to put together one of these beautiful cupcakes. This is from our Hello Sunshine. Then last week, I worked on showing you how to use different stitches on your sewing machine and make the different stitches. So today, I was going to follow up with that on how you would hand. If you wanted to hand applique, you could do that as well. So there's a couple different things you could do to start with on the hand applique. This one would be just a single thread. This is if you want to do a blanket stitch, is what I call it, around the outside edge by hand. And this is just a single layer using regular thread, sewing thread if you'd like. And I'll show you how I start this. I start by popping up from behind, right at the edge. You come up, and then the very next step, then I pinch that with my thumb, and I come back through from further in to the outside edge, and make sure that when you pull this, you're going to see how that catches that loop right there. I'll do it one more time. Now once I've already done a stitch, you just continually put your needle on the inside to the outside, just like that. And I'll do one more. So it starts on the inside and goes to the outside, and you catch that loop every time. The only time that you come straight up from the back is your first starting stitch. And you can continue around that cupcake, the frosting. The second one I wanted to show you, and you can see the noticeable difference. If you wanted to use floss, it gives a little bit more handwork looking finish to it. And this is actually 2 floss strands. You could also use a very small, I would recommend a very small size of your pearl cotton. You wouldn't want to go too large, it would look really heavy. So this is, again, you start in the middle, you go to the outside edge, and you're going to loop that right through the middle. So it makes a loop. I hold it with my thumb, I come on the inside, go to the outside edge, and make sure that thread is looped, or floss is looped around the back of the needle. And then I pull that. And you can just continue that. It's really fun. I enjoy doing handwork, and I know some of you have also mentioned how much you enjoy handwork. You can take it anywhere, do it anytime. It's a lot of fun. So that is basic blanket stitch applique by hand, if you would like to do that. Now, also included in the sewing version, there are these fun little felt dimensional flowers. Now you can make them both on the embroidery machine and by hand. I'll show you the sewing version. First, the sewing version, it comes with a template. I just cut the template out, and instead of having to find a tool and trace, you can definitely do it that way. I just pin right through the middle of the petal, and you're going to make 5 petals, and then I just cut around the outside edge. And you would cut out 5 petals. They'll look just like this. And you're in preparation to make the flower. So once you have the 5 petals, you sew them together. Now the embroidery is the exact same thing. The embroidery version, it stitches out 5 petals just with your floss, and you'll want to make sure you use the same color floss on the back as the front. So if you're using an embroidery thread, make sure you wind your bobbin with that same color. Once you've got that finished, you simply cut them out. You will want to give it just a little bit of felt around the outside edge around each one of those flowers. And so I've cut one of these 5. Now this is the 4 by 4 inch size. And I'll show you these flowers. This one's a 5 by 7 inch. I've already put that one together. And this one is the 6 by 10 inch. You can kind of see the petal size difference between the different sizes. Lots of fun options that you can do there. The another cool thing that we've done here is we've taken the 6x10 and coupled it with a 5x7 hooped petals, and you just lay one inside of the other. Now the one thing that both the embroidery and the sewing version have in common is you have to hand sew them together, both of them. So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's a lot of fun, but I did find something that worked really well for me as I was going through and making these. So I have my 5 petals ready to go. I like to use the same color, I don't know if you can see, the same color of thread that I like to use to sew it together and add the button. So you take this and you pinch it over, and you're going to go through both sides of that, and I'm going to hold it until I pull that through tight. And I do have this thread doubled. I don't know if you can see that. I have it doubled just for strength. And I'm going to go one more time and make that nice and tight. And see how it makes a petal? And then I'm going to take a second petal and I'm going to go through both tips, just like that together. And I'm going to pull it in right next to this petal. And then I'm going to join the 2 petals with one more loop all the way through all 4 of them. And the reason I found this really helps make that base more solid. They stay together. Otherwise, they keep wanting to flip on each other. And this, if you do them side by side like that, it wants to lay right there, just like that, side by side. Now the trick is on the 3rd one, I go through that point and go through that point, and I pull it together, but I don't go through all 3 of these again. I only pick the petal right next to it, and then I'm just gonna go right through just those last 2 petals, because I do want to give it a little bit, I want to give it strength, but I want to give it enough room to grow here, because we're going to keep making a full circle. And if I kept tying it back to the first one, we'd have a straight line of flowers rather than a circle. So I'm going to grab the next petal, and I'm going to go in one corner and out the other. So it is, and this is the top of my petal that I'm putting basically right sides together. And then as I pull that onto this one, I'm going to grab the one next to it, and I'm going to just hook the one next to it. And you can see now it's starting to lay really nicely, and it stays together a lot better. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the last 5th petal. So it lays right down here in its spot. And I'm going to grab the petal next to it and go through those again. Trying to keep all my threads straight. Now I am going to take the next 2 petals and go just through the 2 of those, just to give it the rest of the added strength that you want. You want to make sure that they want to stay together, but they want to stay flipped up the right direction. Now by doing it that way, then when I add my button on the very top, you can see when you add your button, these aren't sitting here flipping like this on me. Because if you just go through it one time, they kind of have a tendency to do that. And what I like to do is make my button, my flower, and my button look the way I want it to. And then I just simply sew the button on. And that is how I made all of these. And you can see that they're kind of fun. Not every single one of them is identical. They each have a little bit of different way that they lay, but it makes them like flowers. Flowers are not all identical. They're each unique, and that's one of the things we love here at Kimberbell. We love seeing all of your unique ideas and flavors and tastes. That's really fun. So I hope that you'll post and show us pictures of all your embellishments that you've been working on at home, and share with us, any other great ideas or tips that you may have for doing the same thing. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next Tuesday.